Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the podcast, Field Goals and Forecasts, now on Afterthought Sports YouTube channel. I'm Ryan Adio, as always joined by my lovely co-host, James Derrick, and once again, joined by the lovely Nathan Donnelly as well.
Lovely.
The NFL draft has just concluded. It was, how many days ago at this point? 2 days ago was the final pick, was Saturday. We're recording this on a Monday, so 2 days ago was the draft. The first round was almost 4 days ago now at this point. We still have a lot of reactions from it. Very crazy, especially round one of the NFL draft. I think you both can agree on that.
Yeah. So the first day would have been Thursday.
Yes.
So Thursday at about, right? So, whatever round one was, at about pick 20, I got a text from Ryan that said, almost word for word, "Are we the stupid ones?"
Yeah.
And I felt really stupid at about pick 25. I mean, nothing I picked was happening.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what teams were doing.
Outside of the top six.
Outside of the top six.
We were good up until about pick 7.
Yeah, about 6 or 7, we started falling apart, but we're going to get into the falling apart, hopefully.
I mean, we could start with the fact that none of us, I don't think anyone in the world had the Jaguars trading up to 2 and picking Travis Hunter. That's unbelievable.
It is absolutely absurd, and I think you said earlier at lunch, they're going to use him as mostly a wide receiver?
Yes, and that's what I was a little bit confused about. Mm-hmm. They don't really need receiver. Trading a lot to get him too.
And you're going to go out and you're going to try, you're a team that has so many needs, and you're going to go out, trade up for the second overall pick, and you're going to get just a good receiver, and that's going to be your difference maker. I think you could have drafted Abdul Carter, Will Campbell, or Mason Graham above him if you're the Jaguars, considering what you need. Those guys are going to be difference makers as soon as they step on the field. But Travis Hunter, especially a wide receiver,
and almost as soon as they traded up, it was pretty much consensus. Okay, this is Travis Hunter. There was no thought, oh, maybe they'll pick Abdul Carter, maybe Will Campbell. No, it was always going to be Travis Hunter. It felt like.
I thought coming into this thing, I thought I saw reports that the Browns were in love with Travis Hunter. Like, I mean, how in love can you be if he has a price tag? Like, okay, everything has a price tag, but still, I mean, it was just confusing. But yeah, once the trade was made, it was like for sure they would not have traded up for anybody other than Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Membo was, and that's not the craziest pick, Jets at 7, but I don't know if any of us had Tet McMillan at 8.
And then
I
the
thought
next,
it was very early, but
and then actually the next,
Kelvin Banks, the
Wow.
Saints. That's unreal. This, and maybe we'll talk about this later on, but Colston Loveland at 10. Not a single soul could have predicted that one.
No,
I'm almost sure of it.
If we kind of backtracking here, if we go back to the first episode, I will admit I didn't keep it in my mock draft. I had Tet McMillan going to the Panthers at 8.
It's a decent pick, yeah.
But then I was like, no, why would they, like, this isn't realistic to what they would do. They have a decent enough wide receiver core that they don't need to take a number 8 overall pick on somebody who's, I don't think is deserving of a number 8 overall pick.
I would also have to agree with you. I think he's extremely talented.
He's extremely talented.
Not number 8 overall.
He's not
talented.
number 8 overall. And then you get to pick number 10. It's like, did somebody hack the war room? Like, what happened here? Like, what?
I just, every single, and I saw a lot of mock drafts. I mean, we created a lot of mock drafts.
Yeah.
A lot of people here created a lot of mock drafts today, and I saw them. This was so far out of left field. This draft was actually unreal, where you texted me back, and you were like, is this how it always goes? I've never made a mock draft before. Is this like normal? Like, no, I feel like I had a pretty solid mock draft last year. This was not even close.
Yeah.
Not even close.
Just a conundrum. I mean, this is a bad year to really finally focus on the draft and grade these players out of college and think about what the best fit for each team was. It didn't really seem to matter what the best fit for each team was. It just whoever, I guess. They hacked the war room.
Yeah, consciously, I will admit. And I feel like I have enough knowledge, but it's fine. This was my first conscious year of making a mock draft, really getting into everything. And I thought I was doing it wrong. I was like, is this like, why would I even make this in the next following years? This is going to be stupid if this is going to throw it out. Like
pretty consensus picks too. I think I like a lot of our
normal picks. Yeah.
I mean, the first round was crazy. I mean, I think we can all agree with that. Unbelievable first round. It gets weirder the longer we go on, I think. Can we just talk about the quarterbacks? I mean, everyone's kind of overlooking Cam Ward. I feel like, you said this before, Titans were almost put in a position where they had to draft Cam Ward. I think there just wasn't a better quarterback available.
There wasn't a better quarterback available, and if you trade back too far, there are other teams that definitely would have scooped him up.
100%.
But I think realistically, a lot of people would have considered him in most drafts, a mid to late first rounder, and they just had to pick him at 1. I think that's kind of what they had to do.
Yeah, the quarterback is the football position. Like you need a quarterback. Teams are going to do whatever it takes to get a quarterback. Yeah. We'll get into that later. But like, I don't think any of these quarterbacks are going to be great. But Cam Ward was far and away the best option.
I do like Cam Ward. I think he's going to have some ceiling in the NFL where he's going to be pretty good at least. I don't know if I can 100% guarantee you on any other quarterback that was picked in this draft. I mean, Jackson Dart being the next one should really, really say something.
I almost had it that way.
I put my rankings out. I said Jackson Dart was my 2. Everyone kind of called me crazy for that, but apparently that's what the NFL thought too.
The NFL thought that.
The Giants traded back in, I think, with the Rams and took Jackson Dart 25th overall, I believe. What's your guys' thoughts on Jackson Dart in the first round?
I could have seen it even if it was like the Saints, but I don't know. Trading back in late, I think, is the more viable option for any team if they were to do that, like the Giants did. I think going about getting Jackson Dart in the first round, they did it correctly. However, how far would he have actually fallen if they didn't trade back in?
That's what I'm wondering as well. I almost think, maybe the Browns take him 33.
I don't think he would have fallen much further.
You think he would have been scooped up if the Giants didn't get in there?
Okay.
The Giants traded back in from spots 23 to 30 for a reason, because that's where they had him graded at, and they needed a quarterback.
Yeah.
So taking Abdul third was, home run pick. Obviously, you're going to take Abdul Carter, animal, played on one shoulder, whatever. But then you're waiting, and you're waiting, and you're waiting. You're like, I need to wait until this range so I can effectively shop everybody's picks there for somebody who isn't confident in who they're selecting, and be like, hey, I'll give you this year's second, this year's third, and next year's third for what we think is the quarterback of our future, and we think fits exactly right in with our team.
I think once it got past the Steelers at 21 and maybe even the Vikings at 24, they were like, okay, this is our go time. And I lied. It was with the Texans that they traded.
It was with Texans,
And then the next pick was the Rams, who traded to the Falcons. But we'll talk about that later.
I will say I didn't see a lot of things in this draft coming. This I almost should have seen coming.
The Giants trading back in. Yeah.
And then you start to wonder, oh man, they took Jackson Dart over Shedeur Sanders. That's odd. And then we get into the second round, and you look at the next quarterback taken, Tyler Shuck. At 40, I believe that was the pick. Yes, the New Orleans Saints at 40 took Tyler Shuck over what, some draft experts said was the best quarterback in the draft.
1984.
Are we sure 26-year-old Tyler Shuck deserved to be drafted in the second round?
In the notes sheet, it says, "What is this old man going to do with the Saints?" Verbatim, that's what it says. I'm reading that with my own eyes. And I don't know. Obviously, they needed a quarterback in one of these first 2 rounds. Mm-hmm. You don't know what's happening with Derek Carr. Like, that whole situation is tricky, right?
Yeah. Look, as a Falcons fan myself, I love the pick because it means they're gonna have maybe a 6-win season next season and be very bad for the next 3 years, and then Tyler Shuck will get too old, and then they'll have to draft another quarterback.
And then Jalen Walker's gonna break his leg or something like that.
This just makes
respectfully, of course.
This makes me feel really bad for Alvin Kamara. He just signed an extension there, right?
Yeah.
They duped him. after the first 2 or 3 games of the season where they go out and score 80 points, and then he's like,
oh, this is sick. I'll love doing this.
And, Tyler Shuck, second round, and I guess they got some O-line help in the first, didn't they? They took the offensive lineman out of Texas.
They took Calvin Banks.
They took Calvin Banks at 9, which I don't think anyone had that either. Not as much of a reach as some of the other O-linemen that were taken in the first round, but I will say, if you think we're over-exaggerating about how old Tyler Shuck is, he is reunited with a former teammate of his, former college teammate, Juwan Johnson. Played tight end for him. Juwan Johnson was drafted in 2020.
Nice.
They played together, I believe, in 2020, the 2020 college football season. I think it was... he played for the Oregon Ducks. I think they both played for Oregon.
Yeah, because probably with Herbert, probably with Herbo. Yeah,
former college teammate.
Yeah,
he's reunited with after 5 years. 5 years of being in the NFL.
You're like, hey man, where you been? Oh, I've been getting my degree. How are you?
He just got re-signed.
You just walked the stage.
It's
like, what are we doing here?
Unbelievable. And then you're like, okay, well, surely Shedeur is going to go next. No, Jalen Milroe to the Seahawks and Sam Howell to the Vikings. Both just backups in my eyes. I mean, maybe Milroe gets in on some scheme, and that's the most I can see happening.
It's unfortunate for Milroe.
Better.
Yeah, it's unfortunate for Milroe when the forward pass was invented in 1906. Because if it wasn't, he'd be the greatest quarterback. Like, he is an absolute freak of nature. Like, watching him at Alabama was a treat. They would run the run options with him. They do the RPOs. He'd take it to the house. He'd bull rush somebody. Just can't really throw forward that well.
Yeah. Actually, one of the worst quarterbacks I've ever seen
throw
forward.
Yeah,
and that has been picked this early as well.
It's insane.
Then it's the Browns.
Oh my, this was just
this was awesome.
This is the end of the fourth round, right?
This is where we. This is
end of the third round.
This was the end of the night for us, I believe, on Saturday.
Yeah, our sanity had already been lost.
Or on Friday, excuse me.
On Friday, yeah.
And people release the picks a little bit early. You get a little buzz from Schefter, and you're like,
oh, that's right.
Weird.
Yeah.
So you're looking down, you're like, I'm sorry, they selected who? And I knew, and Nathan did not know.
I didn't know either.
And neither did James. And so I'm like, just wait. Dude, you just got to wait. And you're naming every quarterback. You're like, what, Quinn Ewers?
I was like, Will Howard? Like, Kyle? Like, who are they taking?
Just wait. Like,
and all of a sudden, the name pops in my head. And I go, Dylan Gabriel? And I turn to Ryan, and he's just stone-faced. And I'm like, oh, my God. There's no way they took Dylan. Like, I was in shock for, like 5 minutes.
Seconds before the pick is announced.
Yes. I was like, oh, my God. They took Dylan Gabriel.
Because they started showing him in his house. They were like, oh, like live. And he's like smiling with his parents. I'm like, oh, my God. I can't believe this is real.
Like, he would not be smiling if he wasn't getting drafted.
Apparently, it was enough for the Browns. But they didn't have enough quarterbacks. So they decided to finally pick Shedeur Sanders. It's the big draft topic. I mean, I'm sure you've heard it over and over and over at this point. They selected him in the 5th round, 144 overall. 2 quarterbacks in this draft. First time ever a team has ever selected back-to-back quarterbacks in the draft. Yep, there was no pick in between. They now have Joe Flacco, Shedeur Sanders, Dylan Gabriel, Kenny Pickett, and Deshaun Watson as the worst QB room, I think, in history.
Yeah, so you're going to have Joe Flacco, who's probably on the verge of either just fully retiring or, this is my last year, I don't really care. And then him and Kenny Pickett can duke it out for the starting quarterback role. Kenny Pickett I could foresee him grabbing the role.
Yeah.
And then Dylan Gabriel and Shedeur just play checkers on the sideline. What do they do? What do they do this upcoming fall?
Command and grip over that practice squad team. they're gonna lead that practice squad team. If there was like a NFL G League, it would be the Browns would win.
They would win the championship. Yeah, for sure.
I I remember when they took Shedeur, or they took Gabriel with the first one of the 2 picks, and then it flashes to the war room, and all of them are like, yeah, we got our guy, whatever. They're all high-fiving and hugging, like Stefanski's grinning ear to ear. And then it flashes to the war room when they pick Shedeur, and I'm not even kidding, Stefanski's sitting there like this.
Yeah, that's a pretty accurate representation.
Like, and then forgive me, I was looking it up. I don't know who the coach is that was next to him, but he was sitting there like that, just like him, exactly, staring straight forward.
I just don't know.
I don't know
either.
either.
Not want to deal with him. And
I don't know.
100% they don't
1,000,000%.
I mean, you look at the Steelers, who picked Will Howard with the next quarterback here. You really think they want to pair Shedeur Sanders, DK Metcalf, and George Pickens in the same locker room?
Oh my.
That's hell. I'm gonna say that is terrible.
Yeah, I could foresee that not working.
Your media team would quit. They would put down their stuff and they would leave.
Oh my! Yeah, did you even mention Deshaun Watson's name with that?
No, I didn't mention Deshaun.
Like, that's just
you
did. I think you threw him in there.
Duo too.
I can't even fathom. There's so many people here right now where if you told me they were all on the same team like 2.5 years ago, I would think you're like on drugs.
Yeah.
From going
Heavy
projected, I mean, we could talk about Kyle McCord, I guess, a little bit. You're both Syracuse people, but I mean, he's just a backup on the Eagles.
Yeah, he'll be back up on the Eagles.
He can win a championship.
Yeah.
He'll be a backup on the Eagles, and I thought it was cool because now he's like playing behind Jalen Hurts, and like they won the Super Bowl. He's also from Philly, which is sick.
Oh yeah, that is pretty cool. I will.
Happy ending for Kyle McCord.
This is my little rant portion here.
Go for it.
Since we're talking about quarterbacks, we're talking about Shedeur Sanders. I don't want to talk about Shedeur Sanders for very long because of the droning I heard from Mel Kiper on the first 2 days of the draft, rounds 1 through 3. It was unbelievable. When the guys came out for rounds 4 through 7, I think it was Rich Eisen, Baldy, all these guys come out and it's so much better. Like, the commentary is so much nicer. Like, it's cleaner, it's smoother. Mel Kiper could not go seconds without talking about Shedeur Sanders. Like, actual seconds. Cam Ward is getting selected, and Mel Kiper's talking about Shedeur Sanders. They're showing Shedeur Sanders highlights while he's getting drafted. That is so unbelievably disrespectful. And I'm looking at you, Mel. I'm gonna talk about this. We're gonna talk about this in a second. We're just talking about the teams with the best draft. Mel Kiper gave the team I chose a C, the lowest grade. It's unreal.
It's because he hates you.
Yeah, he does hate me.
He
And
hates
you know what?
you.
Mel Kiper, I don't like you either, all right? You haven't been good in about 14 years. Maybe stick to the later rounds, but do not stop grading, all right? Like, it's not working. Shedeur Sanders is not the 20th guy on the board. He never was. And you know what? GMs and draft officials, they embarrassed you. It is so unbelievably funny, and I just wish you would stop talking about Shedeur Sanders for 2 seconds.
Just one more thing. I also am very frustrated. It's like Will Campbell drafted. Like, there's all these guys that are fulfilling their childhood dreams, walking the stage, getting their name called. It's like, boom, handshake with Roger Goodell. They're holding up the jersey. And then the camera cuts to Mel Kiper. He's like, should have been Shedeur Sanders. Yes. Why didn't you Shedeur Sanders? Can you give these guys their moment? Like, stop.
It would go to him, and they'd be like, this is a mistake. They're going to regret this.
Horrible pick.
It's just...
Like, let these guys have... They just got their name called into the NBA... Or the NFL draft. Like... Let them have their thing.
And you would think someone with a little bit more experience like him would realize that it's okay to be wrong about these things, and he could get past it without talking about it on air, but he did so extensively. I feel like even when we do the live show here, if someone was talking about something as extensively as Mel Kiper was, we'd have to talk about it afterwards and say, hey, can you quit it? You know what I mean?
I think it comes down to Mel Kiper just doesn't know what it feels like to get drafted or play football.
Respectfully.
This is all in respect. Yes.
Hear me out. Like, this isn't the first time this has happened either.
Oh.
He will do this stuff with multiple quarterbacks. In fact, he said he would retire if Jimmy Clausen, who I'm sure neither of you know who that is.
I'm sorry, I don't.
If he wasn't good in the NFL, if he wasn't successful in the NFL, he said he would retire. Mel, why do you still have a job then? Isn't the retirement home waiting for you? Jimmy Clausen was a bust, buddy. I mean, it's unbelievable. I'm not really willing to talk about it anymore. Sorry to ESPN. I mean, you guys are great, but this Mel Kiper guy, I don't know.
Jimmy Clausen looks like Aiden O'Connell a little bit.
Yeah, but he played like Aiden O'Connell.
Aiden O'Connell.
All right, I think we can move on to the teams we thought had the best draft and the worst draft. It's a little biased here, my pick at least, but I think the Falcons had a very good draft. I think both of you can kind of agree with me on that.
I do agree with that. I saw that it came around to your spot at 15, right?
Yes.
And Mike Green was still there, and I was like, oh, that's sick. And then Jalen Walker was still there too, and I was like, "Oh, you're taking Jalen? Yeah. Oh, that's awesome! You had a great draft."
Besides Abdul Carter, the best defensive end in the draft, like second best defensive end in the draft, just kind of fell to us. I don't know why the 49ers chose Michael Wilson over him, but what do I know? And then they trade back in. They did give up a lot for James.
I think
Pierce Jr.
that is where you get a lot of the slack. Like Mel Kiper gave you a C.
Whatever.
It's because you didn't draft Shedeur.
We didn't have a second round pick. You know what? It doesn't matter because James Pierce Jr. and Jalen Walker, that is a great first round. That is an unbelievable first round. Good. Sure, they gave up a first round from next year. They gave up their second round pick, but I'm not hung up on that. I mean, we're in a win now mode. The third round comes around. We get one of the best safeties in the draft. Xavier Watts led the NCAA in interceptions, I believe, in 2023 from Notre Dame. They went to the national championship. Like
a Notre Dame defender will be good.
Yes, very good safety. Billy Bowman Jr. from Oklahoma in the, I want to say, fourth round. Yep. They're going to play him at nickel corner. That's one of their needs. And then obviously there's the seventh round pick of Jack Nelson, who only allowed one sack in his college career in the seventh round. And then you go and you pick up Kobe Bryant and Nick Nash, both undrafted free agents. Kobe Bryant is a first team all, what is Kansas? They're the
Big 12.
Big 12. First team all Big 12 or second team all Big 12. Unbelievable accolades for an undrafted free agent. And Nick Nash led the NCAA in receiving yards for wide receivers at San Diego State. How can you grade them a C, Mel?
I don't know about you.
How is that the worst draft in the NFL?
I think what it comes down to is what you gave up to trade back in the end of the first round. And you did give up a lot. I think there's a lot of people that would say you easily lose that trade. That depends on how James Pierce Jr. turns out. We can't grade this yet. Losing, you said a first for next year, right? But that sucks. Yeah, okay, you guys could. Right? There is a likely scenario where you guys end up with what could have been like the 15th pick again, and you lose out on a Jalen Walker level talent. I think that is where you'll find a lot of people.
But how can you grade a draft based on next year?
No, you can't yet. So that's what I'll say. And I think especially Kobe Bryant, I think was maybe a round 3 grade from the combine and just before the draft. So you get him as an unsigned, undrafted free agent. I think even Nick Nash, like you mentioned, is also really good. Should have been drafted too.
Yeah, I think Kobe was like a late third grade by a lot of teams.
I don't know what really happened.
I don't know either, but getting him as a UDFA is awesome.
He's probably going to start. He's going to be probably the third corner.
Getting him as UDFA even after the draft is amazing.
Unreal.
To me, at least.
I thought they had a good draft. I don't know. Maybe I get that they gave up too much.
I'm sold on it. You sold me.
Yeah, you sold me. I'd say.
I think James Pierce Jr. is at least worth the second we gave up.
Yeah.
Just to see how he pans out. For me, though, I think the best team in the draft was the Patriots. I'll keep it short and sweet. They get their blindside blocker for Drake May for probably the next 13 years. Travion Henderson can come in and be a difference maker pretty much immediately, especially with Ramondre Stevenson's fumble problems as well.
He's an animal.
And then they also end up getting Kyle Williams, the wide receiver out of Washington State.
Really good pick.
He was projected second round. I think they just got 3 absolute studs in the first couple of rounds. And also, maybe this is a glaze of the Patriots, I trust any defensive player that they take rounds 4 through 7 just because of how well they generally draft, whether I know them or not. Usually they're unknown too, especially with the Patriots.
They know what they're doing.
They know what they're doing in general. So I think they absolutely slam these first 3 rounds in particular. That's why I have them as the winners of my draft.
Yeah, we talked about my best team a little earlier with the whole Jackson Dart thing, but I'm going with the Giants.
That's a good one. Yeah.
Specifically because Dable and Shane did everything they could to set themselves up to keep their jobs.
Yeah.
I think they worked this draft masterfully. They waited, patience was a virtue to them. They waited from spots 23 to 30 where they had Jackson Dart graded, and they jumped in and they waited, and then they jumped in, and they got what they thought was their quarterback of the future. The one thing that sticks out to me, and I think I thought I saw you're going to talk about Scadaboo later. Scadaboo's iffy to me because when I watched him at ASU, a lot of his big-time plays and difference-making plays were out of like the receiving game, out of the backfield.
And they're not going to use him there.
Also, Tracy does that too. Tyrone Tracy was a wide receiver at Purdue. So that was a kind of a tricky pick. I would have liked to see them go with somebody else. I don't know if like Devin Neal was still on the board or something like that, but I would have liked to see him go another running back, but that was really the only negative for me.
I think he fits their scheme pretty well. The only pick I will say that I didn't like out of the Giants was Darius Alexander, the defensive tackle from Toledo. Not that he's not a good player, and he is a good player.
He was the second, right? Second rounder?
He was a first pick of the third round. How many defensive tackles do they need?
Yeah, that's a lot of defense.
It's just not a need for them. I mean, you're taking best talent available there, but I just don't think it's applicable in this case. Other than that, though, the Giants had a really good draft.
It really comes down to them doing what they need. Yeah. I don't know if Dable's job security will allow him to see Jackson Dart project through to the end, but
probably not.
I think that he did. I think they did the best job they could for this draft.
Yeah, and realistically, they really needed it.
Yeah.
Let's get into teams with the worst draft. I think we can run through this pretty quick. I chose the Bengals, Cincinnati Bengals. Just not excited with any of their picks. I kind of just wrote that down. It's just underwhelming. Shedeur Stewart in the first round, just not really high on him in general as a prospect. I think he's got great athletic talent. He's quick. He's big. He's I mean, one of the most athletic guys. 9.99 athletic score.
Yeah.
All this stuff, but no production, and I'm worried that that's going to transfer into the NFL. Demetrius Knight, second round linebacker, guard, linebacker, tackle, running back. It just doesn't help them as much as it needs to. Their defense was such a big need, and they went 3 offense, 3 defense. They picked a running back. I'm just not sold. I don't know.
I don't disagree with you there. I think especially when you're taking defense in the first round, you go, for an edge rusher in Shedeur Stewart. While me and Nathan actually did have that right.
That was a pick we got right. It was actually surprising to me. I got one right.
You got it right, and you were also saying they should trade
back into the first round.
Some more defensive line. They didn't really do anything like that.
With Malachi Starks, Emin Wari, you could say Will Johnson.
I had him trading back in and taking Kenneth Grant,
who
wouldn't have been bad
overall,
which was crazy. But I don't think that if he was available, that wouldn't have been a bad pick. But yeah, it's your gripe was with a lot of these guys specifically. You just don't see. You're not just really high on them.
Yeah.
Well, they're in a win now mode. I just
don't see them making as big of a difference as they need.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think that's my. And right, you said a win now mode. This isn't a rebuild. You're not framing these guys to be good in multiple years. You're saying, I need you guys to play right now, and I don't think you're going to get that out of any of these players they picked.
Yeah, and they could be good in a couple of years, just not now.
Yeah.
For me, my worst draft, I'm just going to go with the Cardinals. I think they took a reach on Walter Nolan. I think they were feeling it a little bit. They saw Kenneth Grant go as early as 13th, right?
Yeah, there was a run on defensive tackles and guards.
And then they just thought, crap, we should just scoop him up while we can.
Go for it.
And then obviously, in hindsight, we saw Mike Green go way later. So maybe I don't blame them as much for Walter Nolan. But, they also took Will Johnson in the second round where, maybe they don't need it now. Maybe they're not in a win now mode, but they're kind of in the purgatory of the NFL where it would help if he could produce for you. And from the looks of it, Will Johnson's knee is it really screwed up?
It's got to be in like 40 pieces.
I don't know.
Pretty much everyone I know thought Will Johnson was almost the best corner in the class.
If not the best.
The best DB in the class. So to see him slide all the way there, you could say they win for that. But
I think that is a win
considering
for them,
the unconfirmed reports about what his knee looks like,
it could just as easily be a loss.
He might not even contribute at all next year.
Yeah.
So I think for me, the risk that they're taking with that, they're not a team that could have taken the risk on him. I think Buffalo could have taken the risk on him. Maybe, we could have. I mean, we drafted plenty of other depth at corner. I don't think we would have needed him next year.
It seemed you'd have to go to like a rebuilding team, and I don't think the Cardinals want to necessarily be in that rebuilding mode. Although it'd probably be good for them if they were to just say, okay, we're in rebuild mode now. But a team like you say the Raiders, like that's a good pick for them.
He can heal next year and not worry about it, and then come back the year after.
Yeah. Throughout the draft, I was kind of confused with the Dolphins.
The Dolphins were my close second.
Yeah, they took Kenneth Grant kind of early. And then I believe in the second round, they traded back up, or maybe I think it was in the second round. They traded back up to get, Saveanea, who was an offensive guard tackle to protect Tua. Them trading up, they didn't have like a decent pick until like the 5th round, and then they took Quinn Ewers in the 7th round, which I'm not really a fan of Quinn Ewers. I thought he could have stayed another year at college and really bolstered his draft stock, but there was just Ollie Gordon in the 6th. Is like, Ollie Gordon was great like 2 years ago, but he didn't really perform and have good production last year as a Cowboy. So I don't know. They didn't really do anything to wow me, I guess, is my point.
And you have to imagine, especially in the first round, they probably had Calvin Banks Jr. circled on their draft board, and then he gets picked up with the 9th pick, and they say, crap, what do we do? That's kind of what I reach on
boom or bust defensive tackle, which I think we can all agree was not a good pick. Kenneth Grant at 13, probably going to be a decent player, but that is way too early for a guy his caliber.
And it's also just, to me, if you're trading up, I just don't think Saveanea is the guy you trade up for. I think you trade up for Josh Simmons. Like, Josh Simmons was an animal at OSU as a Buckeye.
And he's good, but like you said, just didn't need to trade up.
No, I don't think so.
The rest of their draft just nothing happened.
Meh.
Yeah. I mean, Quinn Ewers, that's kind of just another.
It's a little weird.
Meh. Pick. Yeah. I Ollie Gordon, again, you said he was good a couple years ago.
It's been a little while. He's past his prime. Time to play his 18.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I don't know if that's true or not, but
we've got a couple more draft winners and losers here, more than just teams. But a team that nobody really mentioned here was the Baltimore Ravens. Not that they had a great draft just overall, but the fact that they could just wait, sit there, and not trade up, not trade back, just kind of be solid with their picks, and this is something that they do pretty much every year. And then get Malachi Starks and Mike Green in the second round. That's unreal.
That's a great second
being
round.
Able not to move, have like no movement whatsoever, and just, I'm sorry, somebody's mowing the lawn.
Wait, I got it.
Yeah, okay.
Ryan, go close that.
No
please.
movement whatsoever. I'm not seeing enough movement. Hello, Ryan. No movement whatsoever. And
pick up where you were talking. Go ahead.
Yeah.
No movement whatsoever, and being able to get something like that is just, it's very impressive. Well, it's not really tribute to them because they didn't really do anything. But they're going to be lethal. Yeah. That defense is going to be amazing.
Available, I mean, whatever.
Yeah.
I also think that the Titans and their new receiver. Can you help me on the name here?
Alec Iomanner.
Yeah.
Stanford Cardinal.
That's a great fit, and they didn't reach at all for him. He kind of just fell right to them.
No,
as well.
He fell right in their lap. And thinking about the Titans and Iomanner, I mean, another name comes to mind that the Titans got. I think will be a great tight end out of Texas, Gunnar Helm, along to pair with the best quarterback in the draft. Like, Titans are set offensively at least too. Like they got some decently good weapons. Iomanner could be an absolute unit in the NFL. He's a big physical receiver, but he can high point the ball too. Like I think he could be really good for him.
And they've got some weapons that are already there.
So,
that it works out for them for sure.
And then we talked about this already. Cam Scatterbo. If anybody's gonna fight for their chance to make a name, it's going to be him.
Yeah,
and I think this is a great fit for him to be allowed to do that. I think the Giants don't really have a running back one right now. I think he could fight for that starting job. He could fight for a name for himself, and I think this is the perfect place to do it. Let's just get into the losers. I'm not going to talk about it too much, but Shedeur Sanders obviously has to be on this list. Just don't care to talk about him.
Do you want to read the joke I put?
Oh, no. I mean, you wrote it. Go
Okay.
ahead.
I thought we were going to elect a new pope before Shedeur's name was called. Next.
That was awesome.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's really unfortunate. Will Johnson, also, and he's not getting as much spotlight as I thought he would get. When the number 1 corner, who's projected like top 15, falls out of the first round, that's pretty crazy. It's
pretty weird.
I mean, it's no Shedeur Sanders, but it is really crazy.
We were in Ryan's room for the draft, and we were starting to get into some conspiracies. Like, I don't know what was happening. Maybe this lawn guy ran him over. Like, I don't know. Like, he ran over his knee. Like, I don't know, something. But we were starting to get into some like serious stuff. Like, oh my, like, did something actually happen?
Yeah,
but
like, is his knee gone?
Yeah, his knee must
Is
be
his
in
knee
like
not
50 pieces.
in the socket? I
like
don't
Austin's
know.
knee.
Yeah, it's just like flabbiness here.
Yeah,
there's
just
not
skin.
even a kneecap or anything.
It's just skin.
I also want to give a special I'm sorry to Dylan Gabriel. He's going to get very overshadowed. Now that Shedeur is a Brown, he also has to be a Brown, which I think
It's just
in
unfortunate.
itself is just rough. It's just tough situation.
I went to Cleveland once. It was nice. That's all.
Okay.
That's
Cool.
it. Yeah.
Awesome, dude.
That's all I got to say about it.
Baishal Tootin as well. I was really high on him, the running back from Virginia
He
Tech.
was very high.
I was.
Yes.
He was 4th round to the
Very high.
Jags. The Jags already have too many running backs. He's not going to get a shot. What can you say?
They took my orange man, LaQuinn Allen, too, at the very end,
Did
right?
they really?
I think so, right?
How
don't know
many
if it
running
actually
backs
was
do you need?
Yeah, I don't know.
Hold
Yeah,
on,
can
actually.
you
Let's
check
check
on
on that.
LaQuinn Allen? I mean, I don't think.
Yeah,
I love LaQuinn Allen to death. He's an animal,
To the
but I don't.
Jags.
To the Jags, yeah. So that's a lot of comp in that running back room.
That's unbelievable. At least trade Travis Etienne then.
Something like that. Yeah. They have Tank too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's gonna be an insane
That's
running back room.
unbelievable. And then Isaiah Bond, dude just wasn't even drafted. What a fall off. I mean, he was projected first
I
round.
kind of feel bad for him. He embarrassed himself by saying he was the one who said he would break the 40 record,
Yes,
right?
He'd run faster than the 4.21, right?
Yeah, he was
Yeah.
like, I'm going to break the 40 record, and then ran a 4.4.
And then, he said he was going to break the 40 record. Then he didn't do that.
And then he
now
got
he's
arrested, and
And
now he's
You
still
got
not picked up by
put in
the team
cuffs
as we speak.
instead.
Yeah, that's really unfortunate.
He ran the race.
One of our final sections here, we have the awards section. We have biggest steal. You want to just start with
Wait,
that?
this isn't the final one. We're gonna do the Shedeur game, right?
Oh yeah, you're right.
Okay,
We have
sounds
two
good.
more sections.
Okay, cool.
It's a little
Yeah.
bit of a
We got a special
we got a
game.
little game for you guys. Let's start with the biggest steal. Biggest steal award. I'm going Jihad Campbell at 31 to the Eagles.
Yeah,
When he got picked, I was like, wait, he's still there?
yeah.
I
He's
forgot
on the board.
Yeah, I forgot about him. And the Eagles like traded up 1 pick to get him. They only gave up a 5th round pick. Who cares? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
The best off-ball linebacker in the league just went to the Super Bowl champions. It's over. I mean, Howie Roseman continues to stay the best GM in the league, and what else can you say?
Yeah, they traded up 1 pick to get him, which I think was worth it because honestly, Chiefs probably would have taken him.
It's just
Dude,
right
that's
now. I
that's
see why not.
that's I mean that's even if they have guys like that's best available, you can still trade somebody like Jihad Campbell at 31. Yeah, that's one of the biggest steals to me. James?
Yeah,
what do
sorry.
you got? Yeah, go ahead.
My biggest steal, and he's not like a steal in a sense that I think he's just a really good fit for the Chiefs, and that's Josh Simmons. I thought, yes, while Jihad Campbell, if he fell to them, maybe they would have picked him. I think this was their guy. And out of all the offensive linemen that were taken, Gray Zabel at, 18 or something to the Seahawks.
Yeah, Seahawks.
Josh Simmons still on the board for the Kansas City Chiefs and just falls right into their
Great
lap.
pick. Yeah.
It's actually unbelievable.
He's a perfect fit. They've had trouble at that tackle position for a while. One of the best offensive linemen overall in the entire draft.
Something that I think you can note is I think it's easier to move a tackle to a guard where they need guard help as well than it is to move a guard to a tackle.
To a tackle.
Yeah. I think
That's a fair point.
it's a really good pick for them. I think honestly, if they sit there at 31, they pick him anyway.
Yeah.
I think they always had their eye on him. And who's your biggest steal here?
I'm gonna stand and die on this hill. The 2 Ohio State running backs were not second round talents.
Wow.
I think they are in any other draft are first round talents. And I think that more for Travion Henderson than I do for Quinshon Judkins, although Judkins was picked first to the Browns. Browns redid the running back room too. It looks really good. Yeah, I think
really good.
It looks good.
I think either of them could have gone in the first round, and I would be like, yeah, they're first round talent. So them falling to the second round, although being projected in the second round in this draft because of how deep the running backs were, I just think Patriots got Henderson.
They did.
Yeah. So I think Browns and Patriots got steals.
Yeah, I would agree with that completely. And they both, I don't know about the Patriots, but they both kind of needed running back a little bit. We'll see what happens with Nick Chubb and Ramondre Stevenson for that reason. But let's get into our best fit of the draft.
Not outfit.
No.
We will get to that.
It's coming.
Yeah.
You start this time, Nathan.
Okay, I'll start. Every time somebody got drafted, they would like go through the green room. It's first round. They'd go through the green room, whatever, and then they'd they're walking through, and they dap up this dude in a blue suit, and I'm like, oh, dude, who is that? Like, he looks sick. Like, he's congratulating everybody. Like, he looks awesome. And then his name got called. It was Maxwell Hairston for the Bills, and I was like, oh, this guy's gonna be amazing.
Yeah,
like he's perfect.
He's definitely a Bill.
It's such a Buffalo pick. I think he was wearing a blue suit too.
He went to Kentucky.
Yeah, he went to Kentucky. He was wearing a blue suit. Like, it was amazing.
Shoes,
no more Kyer Elam. Like, it's gonna be great. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And Benford's already a great quarterback.
Yeah.
I know you have that there.
So you're lining Max up on the other side. Like, it's gonna be.
And the Bills did go on to pick 2 more DBs in the 4th round as well. So a lot of depth there now. James, who's your best fit?
My best fit, coming out of Penn State, the tight end, Tyler Warren.
Yeah.
All right? He goes to the Colts. They desperately need some weapons for Anthony Richardson, especially close to the line, someone he can get the ball to easily, and just he can do the rest of the work for him. If you told me that the Colts got the second tight end off the board, I would have said, oh, crap, they drafted Loveland.
They settled for Loveland.
They settled for Loveland. No, they get Tyler Warren.
It's actually unreal.
Tyler Warren.
That's unreal.
You know,
I won't lie to you.
What it comes down to is it's a team need, and they got the best one available at 14 when one already was taken. So I think it was surprising as much as it was the best fit for me.
Yeah, when the Colts picture came up and it was like on the clock or whatever, and then right next to it said best available, and the first name was Tyler Warren. I was like, oh, this is the easiest pick ever. Like, it was a crazy first round.
Anyone could have made that pick.
It was a crazy first round, but I was like, oh, it's not that crazy. Yeah. Like, this is going to be Tyler Warren.
They know what they need. My best fit here, Malachi Starks to the Ravens. They just sat, waited, got the best safety in the draft. Pair him up with Kyle Hamilton. That secondary is disgusting.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah, that's a great pick. I think that's a great fit for him as well.
Yeah.
Let's get into our overlooked pick. I think there were a few overlooked picks just because Mel Kiper couldn't stop talking about Shedeur Sanders. So I think you could really mention any of the quarterbacks here. I will go ahead and say that. But that's not who I have. I have Jahdae Barron, corner from Texas.
I love Jahdae Barron, dude, so much.
Wow, what a pick. What a pick.
For the Broncos to get him.
Jahdae
Put him
Barron.
at nickel corner. Pair him with Pat Surtain. That secondary is shut down. Good luck throwing on them.
You handled it all. I'm going to be so excited, like, to just watch the Broncos defense. Like, I don't even want them to have the ball. I just want to watch them play defense. Like, I love Jahdae Barron so much.
And then when they're on offense, you get to watch
Bo Nix. I get to watch Bo Nix and Cortland Sutton, and, like, it's going to be awesome.
And underrated tight end Evan Ingram.
I forgot about that.
So, they made a lot of good additions for them as well. Do you want me to get into my...
Yeah, go ahead.
So, overlooked. You're going to have to bear with me here, but I think the Cowboys do a tremendous job with their offensive line talent, okay? Now, while they big-time reach on Tyler Booker...
we can agree on that.
I would like to say I do agree on that. It's a big reach. They could have and probably should have traded back if they could. However, I think there's a world where in 5 years we see Tyler Booker as one of the most dominant guards in the league behind a Cowboys offense that runs the ball well. They've always ran the ball well historically. They've always had a good offensive line. And I think if they want to return to dominance, they have to be able to power run like they like to. And, get that play action back for Dak out of, whatever remaining years you have from him, pending injuries, whatever he has to deal with. He could be a really good pickup. I think he's overlooked by a lot of people considering he was reached on.
Yeah, I do like the pick. I don't mind Tyler Booker. Again, it is a little bit of a reach. They could have traded back a little bit. It's a big offensive lineman, an interior lineman at that, too. And I think you said it perfectly, just help with their fit for sure, especially with a new head coach.
I do have a problem with Tyler Booker. I'll get into it later. Okay. Am I allowed to say overlooked pick? Am I allowed to say Will Campbell?
Yeah, you can say Will Campbell.
Because
the fourth overall pick.
I mean, everybody's talking about Shedeur and the Campbell. Stop.
The fourth overall pick
I can count.
was overlooked.
I know. Yes, he is. Everybody's
right,
talking about Shedeur.
That.
Like, this was a guaranteed pick for the Patriots, and so I feel like that's why it's not being talked about enough. Like, Mike Vrabel would marry Will Campbell if Vrabel didn't have a wife. Like, he was absolutely in love with Will Campbell. Don't look at me like that. Okay. In love with Will Campbell.
Yeah.
I would let Will Campbell guard my Dino Nuggies in a room of toddlers. Like, he will protect Drake May against the apocalypse.
Yeah, I agree with that.
That's all.
Yeah.
And Flight Reacts likes him.
Flight Reacts loves him. He loves him. Wow. He hated him at first, but then he was like, he saw the interview where he was like, he
said he'd fight and die for the team.
He'd fight and die for the team. Like, he'll leave it all out there.
As he was in tears. I mean, it was inspirational.
It was awesome.
He does have short arms, but
yeah.
I was just really surprised to see how short his arms were.
He has a nice gotyee, though.
Other than that, I was good.
Yeah.
Handsome guy.
Great goatee. Yeah.
Nathan,
nice
give your
dude.
worst pick, and I think we literally just talked about it.
Yeah, Tyler Booker was iffy for me because reach, first of all. And second of all, I think I want to, where am I here? Because Tyler Booker had a RAS, relative athletic score, of like 3.68 or something.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Like it was like 3 point. I looked at it earlier. It was like just horrible. Yeah, it was awful. Whereas the other guards and tackles taken before him are like 9'8", 9'9".
I mean, that was his biggest struggle, especially coming out. He's big. He can block well. He's got great hands. All this stuff. He can't get upfield very fast.
No, you can't outrun. I don't even know comparison for it. But yeah.
No, I think I would like to, I'm a reasonable person. I can agree with that. I think if you want to draft an O-lineman, especially that early, like at 12, that's
he'll have to be multi.
You must be able to do multiple things. At least be agile. Be able to pull out for a block if you had to. I don't think he can do that. I don't think he'll be able to do that. But in terms of power running, I like what it gives the Cowboys because that's kind of more what they.
I'd also be willing to bet like Cowboys fans were like, I don't know, probably upset with it, but like drafting a lineman is like eating vegetables. Like you just got to do it.
You have to eat.
You have to do it whether you like it or not.
To be fair, I think everyone wants to see their team pick a positional player because it's fun.
It's fun.
You got running back, that's cool. But offensive line, I mean, especially because there was a run on offensive line, I think it's a decent pick. It's a reach, and like you said, that athletic score really makes it scary.
It was just like that's bad, dude. Like it was like they have like a colors assigned with the numbers. His was like a crimson.
Red.
It was bad. It was like blood red.
Crimson Tide.
Crimson Tide. Yeah, Crimson Tide.
Good comparison.
That's why it was red.
Good.
Okay,
comparison.
got it. Yeah.
All right, James, what's your worst pick?
My worst pick, I've got two here that are pretty high up, so I could look really bad for this. But I think when you consider that the Jags traded up for Travis Hunter and he's going to play, like you said, wide receiver.
I'm not the one that said it. That's awesome.
Come on, he's going to be the second best or third best wide receiver on that team, and he was the second overall pick in the draft.
They drafted a wide receiver 2 at second overall.
And when you consider the team needs they have a lot. And yes, I guess technically he covers 2 of them, corner and wide receiver. Wouldn't it just be better to draft a surefire difference maker, at least on the defensive side of the ball, like an Abdul Carter or a Mason Graham? That's what they could have gotten. And instead they go with, Travis Hunter, who I'm sure he'll make some great plays out there. But in terms of second overall, come on.
Every single catch in his entire career because it will be posted everywhere.
Yeah.
Everywhere.
Also, I would also like to shout out Ty McMillan. I think he went a little early. I think the Panthers could have addressed some other needs there. I'm not saying that he's bad, that he was the worst pick, but just in terms of where he should have gone.
2 guys who I thought are very talented, very good players, but just not the need that the team needs at that, especially at that spot. 2 and 8. That's way too early to go. A need that you kind of need.
Yeah,
and need so many times.
There are guys in the second and third round. We just talked about how I like the Patriots drafting Kyle Williams. I'm not saying he's the same level, but you can address those needs while getting some surefire talent in the first top 10 picks. Come on.
Yeah, and my worst pick, I mean, we've already talked about it enough, but Colston Levelnet. What are they doing? Like, when they announced that pick, I was actually shocked. He's not even the best tight end on the board. They had the 10th pick. They don't even need tight end. They just signed Cole Kmet to a 4-year, $50 million contract. They drafted a. I'm sorry, you're gonna have to give me a minute. They drafted a second string quarterback with the 10th overall pick, and he wasn't even the best one on the board. Why? What?
I think there's a chance.
What?
Do you have a joke to say first?
I was thinking of one. I couldn't find one.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I think there's a chance that the Bears are going to just try to start taking pages out of the Buffalo Bills offensive playbook. Get as many tight ends as you can.
Yeah.
Help you run the ball first. But
10th overall, though?
really?
That's unbelievable. That's a reach. And I thought Kincaid was a reach when it happened, but that's even more of a reach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Let's get into our overhyped pick a little bit here. I do have Travis Hunter, so I'll just run through it. Again, second string wide receiver at 2 overall. You trade away a lot to go and get him. I'm just not in love with him either. I know you guys.
But he's a good
that.
athlete.
He's a great athlete.
Yeah.
Great athlete.
Phenomenal.
He even can play quarterback. He was throwing the ball a little bit. I just don't care.
He can fill the waters.
And plus, he plays for the Jags. Still just don't care.
Yeah.
Still just don't care. I don't even have one written down, but I thought of something right now, actually. I had a wide receiver graded in like the early second round. I had him going to the Commanders because I thought it was the fit or whatever. Emeka Egbuka went 19th to the Bucks. I mean, yeah.
You don't need a receiver.
I guess it.
Yeah.
No, it won't work. I'm trying to think about how it could work, and it really kind of won't.
I don't know.
They have McMillan.
Well,
They have. I don't know.
I don't know. What I'll say is, when Mike Evans was out for a bit of time, with whatever injury he was dealing with, they didn't get much production from anyone else besides Chris Godwin. I think maybe that's what they're trying to address here, but I feel like that's a rather niche issue that you're trying to address. What if our wide receivers get injured and we need a good third? They kind of had it too, anyways.
Yeah, I will say their third and fourth receivers played really well. I just mentioned McMillan.
Who's the fourth one again? I'm trying to think of his name too. I can't think of it.
I should have known too because I considered picking him up on the waiver wire for fantasy.
He's from Oklahoma. He played with Baker Mayfield. He played for the Giants.
Slayton.
Yeah,
Darius Slayton.
Right.
Darius Slayton.
Yeah,
that's right.
But yeah, right. So you have all these receivers, and you draft a third string slot receiver with the 19th pick when you could have gone safety. I don't like it.
And not to mention they really like Chris Godwin playing the slot. That's why
they could have had Jahad Campbell.
Year.
They could have had Jahad Campbell, and they could have kept him from the Eagles.
Could have kept him from the Eagles for us. Except now Caden's happy.
Yeah. Whatever.
I like to see Caden happy. I'm sorry.
It just happens too much.
Yeah.
You an overhyped pick?
Yeah, just Cam Ward. Mid to late first round value. They had to take him at 1, though. I understand, but again, overhyped.
Yeah,
that's that.
So the camera cut out while we were mid recording, and I didn't realize until hours later. So now we have Noah.
Hi,
James and Nathan. I gave them the game, and they answered it, and it was good, but I can't ask them again because, they already know the answers. So I brought Noah here to answer this is higher or lower Shedeur Sanders edition.
Okay.
Shedeur was round 5, pick 144. Higher means after him, so 145 and up, and lower means 143 and down. Does that make sense so far?
Yep.
All right. Let's start. Number 1, Bills legend, Nathan Peterman. Was he higher or lower than Shedeur Sanders? This was the 2017 draft?
He had to be lower.
You think he's lower?
I think he's lower.
You are incorrect. He was higher.
Really? Okay, that
He was
makes
picked
sense.
171.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense, but I wasn't sure if
Yeah, fair enough, honestly.
that 2017 class wasn't very good.
Yeah.
So I could see him being like a
Besides for
besides Patrick Mahomes, yeah.
But, next up we got Mike Glennon. You know who Mike Glennon is?
Glennon.
So he was a pick by the Buccaneers in 2013. He has a career win-loss of 7-33. He started 40 games. He's a backup now for the Giants. He's been passed around a lot.
I feel like I recognize that name like a lot.
You've seen him. I'm like 100% sure you've seen him.
I'm gonna go. I feel like he was supposed to he was drafted to be like an important player and then just wasn't ever very good. So, I feel like that's who I'm remembering. So I'm gonna go lower.
That is correct. He was the 73rd pick overall, which almost half of Shedeur Sanders. And like I said, career win-loss, 7-33.
That's insane.
Next up, we got Davis Webb, another random backup. He was a QB from Cal. He started one game in his career. He's on the practice squad now for the Giants. He's the backup quarterback on the Giants.
Give me the name again.
Davis Webb.
Davis Webb. Give me higher.
No, he's lower. 87th
Wow, I'm
overall
not good
pick.
at this.
That's okay.
Okay.
Those first three, those are a little difficult.
Yeah.
I won't lie. I've got a little middle game trivia here, so I'll give you some extra points if you can get this. How many players who were selected? Let me say this: how many quarterbacks who were selected in the 5th round have made the Pro Bowl? How many do you think?
How many do I think? I feel like it's like a lot. They showed like at the draft that it was like the 4th round and like 4th round to the 7th round has like a bunch of like all pros in it. So 5th round quarterbacks, I'll say like 15.
It is 1.
Really?
Do you think you can name that one
The
quarterback?
one quarterback taken in the 5th round who made the Pro Bowl. God, who are some 5th round quarterbacks?
That's a really good question. I mean, the ones that I've mentioned, but
See, I don't even know because I don't even know who is like in the 5th round. Like who's
yeah.
yeah.
You're never gonna guess it. It's from 1993. One 5th round quarterback to ever make the Pro Bowl. It's Mark Brunell.
Oh, Jaguars legend Mark
Yes,
Brunell.
yes.
Yes, I almost got a Jaguars Mark Brunell
There
jersey.
you go. So you do know who it is.
I know who it is. Yeah, many a Madden franchise with Mark
There you
Brunell.
go. Next up on our higher or lower list here, we have AJ McCarron. You
AJ
know
McCarron. I thought that he was
you
the
go.
savior of the Bills.
Back-to-back national championships in 2012 and 13. Do you think he's higher or lower?
I think he's lower.
He's actually higher. Pick 164. Battlehawks legend.
Wow, Battlehawks legend. Yeah, I really thought that he was gonna be, like, I was really, I cried when we cut him. I thought that he was our future.
Yeah, unfortunate.
I had no reason to think that. I just thought it.
Next up, we got Josh Dobbs.
Joshua Dobbs, the
Linsanity
pastronaut.
run. Yes. I mean, we're halfway through the list now.
Give me, oh man, I feel like this is one of those ones where I want to say higher and it's gonna be lower. So give me lower.
That would be correct.
Yes.
He was selected with the 135th overall pick to Pittsburgh in the 2017
Wow.
draft.
Did not know that he was drafted to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, he was. Then he had his Linsanity run with he was on the Cardinals to end it, I guess. That's what I remember from him.
Vikings.
There you go.
Yeah.
Next up, we got Jake Fromm. QB
Jake
from Georgia.
from State Farm.
Yep. 2020 draft. Was he higher or lower than Shedeur Sanders?
He was higher, right?
That is correct. He was pick 167.
Your face made me scared. I thought he was like our 6th or 7th round pick that year.
No, yeah, we got him in the 5th round. I was not happy when we picked him either. Then we got the 7. So Ian Book, 2021. He was drafted to the Saints. He's now on the practice squad for Philadelphia. He played for Notre Dame.
He quarterback, right?
Yeah,
Ian
they're all
Book.
quarterbacks.
Okay, yeah. Ian Book.
Started one game.
I want to say that there was like a lot of talk about Ian Book. I'll go lower.
That is correct.
Yes.
Pick 133. We were talking about this on the part of the show that got cut. Ian Book was supposed to be like a 6th round pick, and the Saints picked him very early in the 4th round, and he was very bad. He still is very bad. Next up, other Bills legend, Tyrod Taylor.
Oh,
the
T-Mobile.
Ravens drafted him, and I want to say 2012 or 2013.
Yep. I do know that he's
Yep.
he's a Super Bowl champion technically.
There you go. Yeah, is he higher or lower?
He is lower.
Sanders? That is incorrect. He's higher. He was picked in the 6th round,
Wow.
180th overall.
All right.
All right, now here's a guy I don't expect you to
guy.
know, but you got to stick with me here. John David Booty.
John David Booty.
No way you know who that is.
John David Booty. Yes.
He was drafted to the Buccaneers out of USC in 2008. His biggest accomplishment was giving up his number 9 for Brett Favre when the Vikings signed him. That is what he's most known for. He never started a game and retired 2 years later in 2010.
Because I remember I did what's it called? An NFL like superstar mode in like Madden 09, and I got drafted by the Bucks, and I had to beat out John David Booty for the quarterback. Yeah. That was the quarterback battle.
Well, do you remember when he was drafted?
Let's go for a guy named John David Booty. Let's go higher.
That is incorrect. He was lower. He was pick 137.
Wow.
So
okay.
From Shedeur
I thought you were
Sanders.
about to tell me like he was like pick like 70 or something.
7 picks right before Shedeur Sanders. Never started a game. And finally, our last one here, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. He was just traded to the Eagles, selected by Cleveland in the 2022, 2023 NFL draft.
He wasn't.
I want to say 23.
He wasn't their third round pick, was he?
He was taken out of UCLA, I believe, or Cal, one of the two.
I'm gonna go lower. I want to say it's no. They definitely got him in the They definitely got him in the 5th round. It's high. It's higher. It's higher.
It was the 5th round, but it is lower. 4 picks lower than
I second guess myself.
Sanders. Another Browns quarterback going in the 140s for the Browns. That is my game. That was Shedeur Sanders, higher or lower. I don't know how many points you have.
Probably. I think I lucked into like 3 points maybe.
Well, what was the most surprising one for you?
The most surprising was probably that one. I thought DTR was taken a lot earlier for some reason.
John David Booty was out of left field.
That was out of left field. I will say
I realized
the most surprising name was Davis Webb.
Yeah, Davis.
Is that
Webb.
who it was? That's one of those guys that like Joe Roth will like pull out at the end of a video or something, or like you'll like be sitting around a campfire naming athletes.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for watching. Thank you, Noah, for being here and helping me out. We will see you next episode. Bye-bye.